IVE may understand why you're miserable, but you're still getting beat up by nightfall. Your whole neighborhood is about to dive into IVE, metaphorically. I was a little worried that the stylization of the album title was a mistake. When it comes to traits this group possesses or things they take ownership over, the name IVE is changed to the contraction I have. Album titles like Eye of IVE and Eye of Mine are contractions, versus no contractions on titles like IVE Switch. Switch is an action, something that they do, not something that they have. Is the lack of contraction for the IVE Empathy album a mistake? Shouldn't it be I have empathy? I thought so, but the release of Attitude leads me to believe that it's actually not a mistake. Attitude outlines lyrically that they are the emotions they feel. Very simply, I choose my own mood, I'm that attitude. So the album title without a contraction makes sense. IVE doesn't have empathy, IVE is empathy. But why? Emotions and moods are not something IVE wields. They're not treated as external forces, but internal facets of their own identity. Lyrics such as, my emotions flow a little differently. I focus on things others don't. They embody whatever it is that they decide to feel. If they need luck to push them further towards their goals, they don't have luck, they are lucky. A kind of unexpected answer to the questions presented in the pre-release Rebel Heart. What do you do with the fear and uncertainty that comes from choosing yourself, putting your heart out there? Attitude suggests for you to become what you feel. Lean into those feelings and navigate your way towards whatever it is that you want. It is a little more complex than that, however. The pre-chorus reads, a minor ordeal is a friend to me. It's cute. When fate plays a trick, I've got to roll with it. What can I do? This leads us to the chorus. Even if I stumble, luck is always on my side. I'm that girl. I'm that attitude. In choosing yourself, following your heart, whatever that may look like, you make yourself prone to undesirable feelings and situations. As I said in the Rebel Heart video, things certainly will not always go your way. That's the one thing you can count on when following your dreams. If you put your heart out there, you leave it vulnerable to all things that will come, both good and bad. Attitude seems to suggest that when you find yourself in a low moment, the solution is not to lean into the despair you feel, but to decide upon an emotion that leads you towards a better path. This feels like the extent of the album's narrative. Be so empathetic to the point where you can, quote, feel your way out of negative emotions. A mindset that allows you to give credence to yourself and what you go through, but more importantly, something that will allow you to process the emotions you feel with productivity. There are inevitable risks that come from putting your heart into what you love, and rather than letting despair overwhelm you, work to understand yourself by choosing to embody more desirable feelings such as luck. The scratching card in the music video, IVE doesn't have luck, but they are lucky. Don't have the desirable traits, be the desirable traits. Act upon what you feel for yourself. Now, Attitude by IVE uses a prominent sample of Suzanne Vega's 1981 song Tom's Diner. So, of course, I have to go into speculation and reaching mode. Tom's Diner is a song about alienation. We see our narrator sitting in, of course, Tom's Diner in New York City, quietly observing the people around him, reading the obituary of an actor in a newspaper, watching a woman stare at her own reflection in the window of the diner, and so on. Suzanne explains the creation of Tom's Diner by saying, I was in Tom's and I thought it would be fun to write a song that was like a little film, where the main character sees all of these things but can't respond to any of it unless it relates to him directly. This is reflected in the lyrics. As soon as the man sees the woman is staring at her reflection in the window and not him, he tries not to notice. It doesn't concern him. The narrator sitting in Tom's Diner is witness to everything going on, but does not want to participate if it doesn't directly implicate him. Can we take these ideas with us back to Attitude? I think so. Tom's Diner is a song about disassociation, making the choice to detach yourself from the world around you if it doesn't concern you. Wonyoung, who participated in writing the lyrics for the title track, says, Attitude is a song about cheerfully accepting an unchangeable situation because the only thing that can be changed in an unchangeable situation is your attitude. So we're bordering dangerously close to, if you're sad, just be happy, but I don't think that's what Attitude is necessarily speaking to. Why does the man in Tom's Diner look away from the woman when he realizes she's not looking at him? I think for one, he simply doesn't want to get involved if he doesn't have to, and two, the woman is adjusting her outfit. Maybe he doesn't want to embarrass her or embarrass himself if she realizes there's someone watching her. IVE, in a lot of ways, cannot be the man sitting in Tom's Diner and observing the world. They've chosen to put themselves out there in a way where most things they do now will cause a reaction from the world around them. If IVE is the man in the coffee shop, it's more likely that the people will notice them first. IVE doesn't have the ability to disassociate and observe the world around them in that way. All eyes in the metaphorical coffee coffee shop are already on them. I think this is where rebel heart comes in. IVE is not interested in letting the world pass them by, understands that following their heart will come with hardships, and allows the noise of the outside world to implicate them. That's how you can embrace things like fear and work to overcome it, expecting it, and, like the man in Tom's Diner, choosing to respond to it only if it implicates you. How you go about doing that is up to you. IVE's solution is to become the way you want to feel. The Attitude music video narrative develops this further. IVE checks into a loveless society with the sole purpose of being loved by others and teaching them to strive for the same. It's an immediate contradiction, but quite symbolic of IVE's goal of returning the thanks that has been given to them. The B-side on this album, Thank You, reads as follows. I used to be the only one who mattered for me, but now I'm slowly filling my heart up with other things. My world's getting colorful. I guess I should give my thanks to you. Hope you'll cherish the six of us forever. As with a lot of their previous works, IVE Empathy seems to be about the lived experiences of IVE as idols. So, to throw a net around all of these ideas, why be empathy? A pretty constant, quote, unchangeable situation is the hatred of others, of course. The miserable people who find the time to dislike K-pop groups and idols. Again, quote, even if you hate me, I might still like you. I believe it is misery that leads people to hate K-pop groups and idols, to join in on hate trains and wish for idols to suffer. The hatred that people express to IVE is unchangeable in this way, as it ultimately has nothing to do with them. IVE could disband tomorrow, and the people who hate them the most would wake up the next day just as miserable. Nothing would change. IVE actually has very little to do with other people's misery, though the way they've begun to process all of that hatred is by opening their heart to these people in an attempt to understand why they're miserable, developing a sense of compassion and understanding of the people who may never change. Again, this is visually IVE checking into a loveless society with all the love they have to give. They're eventually able to get the people of this society to dance along with them, but it doesn't seem as though these people have found love or compassion as IVE has. Again, Attitude is about addressing what is ultimately an unfixable problem. Some people cannot be helped in their own misery, and IVE may perpetually be an outlet for people to express the grievances they ultimately have with themselves. Now, IVE may have compassion for the people who hate them, but this is not a free pass to hate as you please. Your misery is not their fault, and it's funny how the album progresses on to TKO, a song about metaphorically knocking the haters out in a boxing match. It'll be a total knockout because IVE is bad to the bone. IVE may understand why you're miserable, but you're still getting beat up by nightfall. Your whole neighborhood is about to dive into IVE, metaphorically. But yeah, these are all of my thoughts for right now. I'll need more time with the album musically before I give my full thoughts. Right now I really like You Wanna Cry. I was listening to it while walking in the park. It was a very movie-esque experience. Yeah, I think that's all for me right now. Thank you for watching this. If you did, let me know what you feel about Attitude, the song and or narrative, as well as the rest of the album. Thanks again for watching. Subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time.